Is a drill set available for specific reading comp question types? Yes, there is. You can go on Amazon and search LSAT questions by type. There are books out there categorizing them by section. So you have a book devoted to games, reasoning, reading comp. You also then have them sorted within those books by game type or question type or section type. So go on Amazon. There are some that are still in print. There are some folks who used to publish these and they lost their licenses. And so they're not available brand new necessarily, but the nice thing is that they're available used, and a lot of those are much more affordable than the ones that are still in print because people aren't always digging the depths of Amazon. So search around there. There's some good ones, and make sure, of course, that if you get a used one, that there's no writing in it. So check that out. There's none available in PDF, unfortunately, because LSAC has banned PDF distribution. They got worried about piracy. So none digitally, but you can get them in print or not used on Amazon. So make sure that you take a look at those. They're less useful than people think because, like I was speaking about for LR in particular, that question type based on the question stem is not always the most useful way to think about the LSAT. A lot of times it's the method of reasoning that determines whether you get a question right or wrong. If there's a confusing method of reasoning, then that may be the reason you get it wrong, even though you're good at a given question type. So analyze in your review process methods of reasoning. A lot of times it's apparent with flaw questions that, of course, it's one flaw or another. If it's correlation causation versus necessary versus sufficient assumptions, or it's about something like numbers and percentages, or absolute versus relative terms, or maybe it's about the abstract nature of the answer choices and how they're worded. And so the reason you need to review a question is not simply because of the question stem, but rather because of a certain attribute, other attribute of the question. So think about that as well, analyze that as well. Of course, if you have trouble with science passages in particular, you don't, jumping to reading comp for a moment, you don't need to necessarily do the passages by that type. You can simply, you have all your exams already, just pay special attention to the science-oriented ones and focus on those. With games, of course, they're useful, maybe most so out of all the sections, but there's also plenty of categorizations published online. I've certainly published mine. And so you can just, if you have the exams, you can just jump around exam by exam, and you can handpick the ones that you need to do at that moment in time. I have in my schedules, I categorize for you. Certainly for games, it's in the schedule. For logical reasoning, it's on the website. And so you can use those sorts of categorizations as well. You don't need to necessarily get a whole new book just for that reason.